It's 7:49. This is West Virginia Morning. I'm Chuck Anzelevich. Hollywood may have coined the term failure to launch, but it's showing up in young adults in West Virginia for a troubling reason.
I would bet that a lot of these kids have undisclosed trauma backgrounds. In order to have a learned helplessness, you have to have something that caused you to think that no matter what you did, you couldn't make a difference.
That story and more coming up on this West Virginia Morning. Support for West Virginia Morning is provided by Hope Gas, committed to the growth and development of West Virginia to strengthen the community. Information at wvisforhope.com. A national settlement with the makers of social media platforms Facebook and Instagram means not only big money for West Virginia, but changes to the sites themselves. Chris Schultz has more.
Subject to court approval, the agreement resolves claims by more than 50 states and U.S. territories that Meta designed Instagram with addictive features, knowingly exposed young users to serious mental harms, and intentionally misled the public about the safety of its platforms. West Virginia Attorney General J.B. McCuskey announced Wednesday that under the settlement, West Virginia will receive more than $114 million.
What we have settled here today and what Meta has agreed to do is not just pay us $114 million, but to also make their platform better, more usable, and importantly, safer for children.
The changes include time limits on both how long children can be on Meta's platforms and what time of day the platforms are available, as well as age verification protocols. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Chris Schultz in Morgantown.
As you might imagine, Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of West Virginia has received tremendous response to the passing of the country music superstar. Maria Young reports on her lasting legacy.
Parton's Imagination Library began in 2006 in West Virginia under then First Lady Gail Manchin. Today, it sends 50,000 free books each month to young children across the state. Jamie Lima, director for the library, says studies have found children enrolled in the program are more likely to be read to at home and more ready to start kindergarten.
Dolly taught us to dream big, give generously, and to never underestimate what one person can do for a child. Imagination Library is well positioned due to her efforts to make sure that that is an ongoing legacy.
To enroll a child or get more information, visit dollybookwv.com. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Maria Young in Charleston.
West Virginians will have an opportunity to watch a celestial spectacle tonight. Here's again is Chris Schultz.
A partial lunar eclipse will be visible for most of the Americas Thursday night into Friday morning as the moon passes through the Earth's shadow. Jason Ibarra, director of the WVU Planetarium and Observatory, says that at the peak of the eclipse, the moon will have a faint orange-reddish tint. He says that color comes from the sun's light filtering through the Earth's atmosphere.
If there were a lot of forest fires, wildfires, or a volcano went off and filled the atmosphere with more particulates, that would actually change how the color looks.
The partial lunar eclipse will begin around 10:30 p.m. Thursday and end close to 2 a.m. Friday morning, with the peak eclipse coming just after midnight. West Virginia's next chance to view a total lunar eclipse will be in 2029. For West Virginia Public Broadcasting, I'm Chris Schultz in Morgantown.
You're listening to West Virginia Morning on West Virginia Public Broadcasting. It's 7:53. We're expecting partly cloudy skies today. There is a slight chance of isolated showers and thunderstorms. High temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s. Tonight, partly cloudy with lows in the mid 50s to the low 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the low to mid 80s. And for Saturday, partly cloudy with highs in the 80s. There are so many young people in the United States who are not working or going to school. There's a name for it, disconnected youth. About 12% of West Virginia's young people from ages 16 to 24 fall into that category. And while the rate has dropped, it's still a challenge. In the latest episode of Us and Them, host Trey Kay works with co-producer Kyle Vass to learn why the state has such a high number. Vass talks with psychologist Colleen Moran about what prevents some young people from moving ahead.
Several of the individuals with whom I work, for a lot of them, it's depression. For a lot of them, it goes back to that learned helplessness. Nothing I do is going to make any difference. It's not going to matter. Nothing I do is going to matter. Why should I even bother?
What are some of these conversations? Like, what are you hearing from them in these conversations?
That it just doesn't matter, that it doesn't make any difference. I can't find anything I want to do. Nothing interests me. I really believe a lot of it is undiagnosed depression. I would bet that a lot of these kids have undisclosed trauma backgrounds or difficulties in their backgrounds.
Why is that?
In order to have a learned helplessness response, you have to have something occur to you, happen to you, that caused you to think that no matter what you did, you couldn't make a difference and it wasn't going to change anything. And trauma is the most likely thing to have caused that thought process. Being stuck in a situation where no matter what you did, it didn't make a difference. You couldn't change things. You couldn't improve your situation. And if you can't improve your situation, no matter how hard you try, why would you bother trying?
Moran says there's a straightforward explanation. West Virginia is a place filled with all sorts of trauma. She says people here, especially young people, are more likely to fall into a pattern of learned helplessness. She says that's when someone tries to do something to improve their situation in life, but is met with negative outcomes over and over again. The result? Some people stop trying. I feel that it's hard to speak in generalities often about the state, but would you say that we are living in an area where there's a particularly high amount of trauma and what those traumas are that a West Virginian might experience that might explain why this is higher than the national average?
We have very, very high levels of substance abuse in this area, not just the opioid crisis, but also a lot of drinking and other drug uses that cause that kind of trauma to kids. Because let's face it, kids can't control what their parents do or do not do. That is a learned helplessness situation. We have a very high level of domestic violence in our state, and that is another situation. Kids watch the domestic violence. I can't save my mother. I can't save myself. I can't save anybody no matter what I do. It doesn't make a difference. And sometimes if I intervene, it makes things worse. So why would I do anything? It's safer to just sit here and not move and not be noticed.
You can listen to the whole episode of Us and Them tonight at 8 p.m. or Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. on West Virginia Public Broadcasting, or you can listen to Us and Them anytime online at wvpublic.org. Us and Them is supported by the West Virginia Humanities Council and the Claude Worthington Benedum Foundation. West Virginia Morning is a production of West Virginia Public Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Support for our news bureaus comes from Shepherd University and the Marshall University School of Journalism and Mass Communications. Maria Young produced today's show. You can listen to West Virginia Morning weekday mornings at 7:49 on WVPB Radio, or subscribe to the podcast and never miss an episode. #WV Morning. I'm Chuck Anzelevich.